Welcome back, guys. So today we're going to be taking a look at what may be one of the best multi-purpose solutions for outputting our retro Nintendo consoles to an HD TV, the RAD2X Nintendo version. So there are other versions out there for systems like the Sega Genesis, the Neo Geo, and PlayStation. We will look at those in a separate video, but today I wanted to check out the Nintendo version as it has a lot of compatibility with multiple systems. So the RAD2X is a low latency solution, a plug-and-play solution, mind you, for plugging your Super Nintendo, GameCube, Nintendo 64, or specific NES or Famicom consoles to a modern display via HDMI, and it was made in a partnership between Mike Chi, the creator of RAD2X, and Retro Gaming Cables UK. So this device uses technology based on what is used in the RAD2X, but also supports consoles that have RGB capabilities that have been built into their design or have been modded to support RGB. So the RAD2X correctly interprets the 240p signal and processes it as a progressive scan image, then line doubles it to 480p. The Nintendo RAD2X works with all Nintendo consoles that use the Nintendo Multi-AV out. When plugged in, it will auto-detect if there's an RGB signal and take that and convert it to component. If RGB is not present, it will default to line doubling composite. The real nice thing is that the RAD2X defaults to 4:3 aspect ratio. We ain't getting no stretching here, and you don't have to worry about messing around with things on your TV, like different options. It just defaults to 4:3 for these retro consoles. Kind of important, right? So it also has latency, very low latency of 53 microseconds, auto output of 24-bit stereo, and includes built-in anti-aliasing low-pass filter. So it also includes a smoothing feature that's optional with an on and off switch. Kind of hard for me to really display how this looks. I'm not a fan of it, but it's essentially the same thing as the RAD2X. The big thing here, no external power supply is needed for any of these devices other than the PlayStation version. So there is some convenience factor here, and I find it really cool. It's a $50 device, mind you. The RAD2X essentially accomplishes the same thing, but can be used for multiple consoles across different, companies, Sega, PlayStation, all that good stuff. But with that, you do have to have some quality cables paired with it to get the best out of it. With this, you don't need anything extra. So I just wanted to kind of showcase some footage here so you guys can see what to expect out of a variety of Nintendo consoles with the RAD2X. So the RAD2X, it is completely region-free, can be used for NTSC or PAL region consoles. And I'm going to show right here the following consoles that are compatible with the RAD2X. So the other nice thing is that other NES consoles can be used with this device if they are modded with the Nintendo Multi-Out. And we will be showcasing that in this video. So we're going to take a look at several compatible consoles that I currently have access to, which means I own them. I do have to make it clear, I did pay for this product myself. It was not provided for review. These are my honest thoughts, but even if it was provided for review, it'd be my honest thoughts anyway. You guys know how I roll on this channel. So we're going to be looking at several consoles here. We're going to be taking a look at the one-chip SNES, but you do have to keep in mind, all standard SNES consoles will output RGB. So that's a nice thing. If you have an SNES Junior, the revision, it will not output RGB without a mod. So you have to keep that in mind. We'll also look at output from an AV Famicom and the RGB modded original NES that has a multi-out port. Another comparison that I'm going to show is the Nintendo 64, both with a standard Nintendo 64 and an RGB modded one. So I think this is very interesting results that we get here. The final console that I'll showcase is GameCube, which it's the console that I least recommend you buying this device for. No reason to buy the RAD2X if you're only going to use it for the GameCube, as the GameCube, in North America anyway, you're only going to be getting composite line doubled. So that is unfortunate, but hey, it's there if you want to use it. I just wouldn't recommend buying the RAD2X just for the GameCube. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the footage. I'll comment a little bit here and there. Everything will be clearly marked. And then at the end of the video, I'll give you guys my final thoughts. So let's do it. So that was the RAD2X through the AV Famicom. We're stuck on composite there. I don't have that system modded. And yeah, there's a lot of noise. It's not the greatest look. But taking a look at the RGB modded NES, which you could also do to the AV Famicom, wow, the difference is night and day. So take a look at this, and then I'm going to swap back to the AV Famicom real quick, and then back to the RGB NES so you could see the differences here and what you can accomplish with a modded NES anyway. So the difference is quite obvious between the AV Famicom and the RGB NES. I'm getting a little bit of noise with the RGB NES via the RAD2X. That may just be my console, but it's still quite a bit crisper and clearer of an image. So let's go ahead and move on to the Super Nintendo and continue on. So that was the Super Nintendo via the RAD2X, and I have to say, I am quite impressed here. Sure, we're not getting visuals on par with like the analog Super NT, but if you have to play your Super Nintendo games on original hardware and you want to be able to transition to playing it on a modern TV with low latency, this just may be the solution for you, but we still have other consoles to take a look at. So let's switch on over to the Nintendo 64.
Okie dokie. Yahoo! 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 Let's go. Yahoo! Yeah! Woohoo! Okie dokie. Yahoo! Wahoo! Yahoo! Yahoo! Let's go. Yahoo!
So there was the Nintendo 64, regular AV versus an RGB modded system. Who needs the Super 64 with this $50 device, right? Well, if you want to get that RGB visuals, you are going to have to get your system modded. Mod boards are around 30 bucks or so. If you can install it yourself, more power to you, but if not, you're going to have to pay for that, an added cost. But is it worth it? To me, yes, but for you, that's up to you to decide. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at GameCube real quick, and then I'm going to give my final thoughts.
I'm ready.
Welcome to Dolphin Park. This is day one of the circuit.
Hey, Akari, hit the gas just as the light goes green and you'll have full power.
3, 2, 1, go!
Good. That going past was perfect. Good pass. Excellent. Pass the red boys on the right. Nice job. That's the way. Look out, someone's about to pass you!
So there you go, the GameCube via the RAD2X, the North American NTSC GameCube. We're only getting composite. If you have a PAL GameCube, you got RGB there, but I would definitely not recommend the RAD2X for a North American GameCube if that's the sole reason you're looking to buy something like this. Hey, it's there if you want to use it, but no, don't buy it for it. Not specifically for this. Now, this Nintendo adapter, there's so many uses here. I've, only shown what I could so far. And for me, this is exactly what I wanted to use it for. I wanted to use it for my Super Nintendo. I wanted to use it for my RGB NES and my RGB Nintendo 64. So to get the most out of this device for Nintendo consoles, you're going to have some modding action taking place. But at the same time, like I said earlier, for the Super Nintendo, if you're just a huge fan of the Super Nintendo and you want to play your system on an HD TV and get some really good visuals, yes, I would recommend it. It's $50, but you do have to order it from Retro Gaming Cables UK. The shipping costs can be a little up there. I'm not 100% what I paid because I bought several cables at once. I know I spent maybe around $200 to get all the cables I wanted, but keep those prices in mind. Look at the different options out there that are available to you. If you're like me and you're in a situation where this makes sense and you can utilize this across the board for multiple systems, it's almost a no-brainer to me. But everybody's, situation is going to be unique and different. I just wanted to share with you guys what I've experienced with this. I'm very happy with my purchase. I can't wait to dive into the other ones, the RAD2X for the Genesis, which I mainly bought the one for the Genesis 2 to use on the PC Engine, but it can also be used on the Genesis. So we're going to have to showcase that as well, right? But that's going to be for later. We also have one for the Neo Geo and the PlayStation. Really excited to check all that out. Hope this video helped. Wanted to give you guys as much information and visuals as I could. So, hey, really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And with that said, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, bye-bye, and boom. Bye.